Hello, students. Welcome to the online classes once more. Today, we are going to start a new prose piece that is My Childhood by APJ Abdul Kalam from Beehive. This is a part of his autobiography, Wings of Fire. There are some points that we have to read and understand before we start this prose piece. Point number one. Can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen? Point two. APJ Abdul Kalam, whose projects in space, defense, and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. In his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he speaks of his childhood. Now, students, let us move to the first point that can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen? Now, this is important. Now, who is a statesman? We have to first understand who a statesman is, then we have to see whether we find some other scientists also who were statesmen as well. Students, statesman means a skilled, experienced, and respected political leader or political figure. There are many scientists who are statesmen also. Albert Einstein was also a scientist as well as a statesman. Our Homi Bhabha, who is more known for his name associated with Bhabha Atomic Research Center, was also a scientist as well as a statesman. APJ Abdul Kalam was also a scientist as well as a statesman. My childhood is a part of his autobiography, Wings of Fire. So, students, APJ Abdul Kalam, besides a scientist, was the 11th President of India. In this extract, APJ Abdul Kalam gives a part of his childhood which was very interesting in many ways. So let us start the prose piece. I'll be reading the paragraphs followed by explanation. First paragraph. I was born in a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in erstwhile Madras state. My father, Jainul had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiama. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. Explanation. Students, let us know the meaning of some words. Erstwhile means former, innate means inborn, generosity means kindness. Abdul Kalam starts by saying that he was born in a Tamil family in Rameshwaram, which is an island town in Chennai, which was known as Madras earlier. The name of his father was Jainul Abidin, and he did not have much formal education. He was also not very much rich, but he possessed great deal of knowledge and true sense of kindness. Abdul Kalam refers to his father's knowledge as innate wisdom, which means he was a knowledgeable person from his earlier ages, and this quality is considered by Abdul Kalam as inborn, that is, innate. The name of Kalam's mother was Ashiama, and she was a very helpful person in the family. Particularly, she proved to be a helpful person to Abdul Kalam's father. Abdul Kalam says that in those days, when he was a child, many outsiders used to come to their home and also used to take food with them. So he says that her mother used to feed a lot of people every day. That sometimes Abdul Kalam got confused that outsiders were more in number than their family members. Second paragraph. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. In the first paragraphs, students, Abdul Kalam gives a description of his family background, a bit about his father and his mother, and how she used to feed outsiders. And in the second paragraph, we find a bit about Abdul Kalam himself and his father, Jainul Abidin. Kalam says that he had many brothers and sisters, and he was a bit distinguished in his looks. He was short and different from their parents who were tall and handsome. They used to live in their ancestral house, which was a concrete house, that is, a Pakka house made of limestone and bricks. It was built in the middle of the 19th century. His father was austere, meaning simple but strict and severe, who avoided most of the inessential comforts and luxuries. But he was very much particular about the necessities in the family, which could be food items, medicines, or clothes, which he never failed to provide to the family members. So, Abdul Kalam concludes in the second paragraph that his childhood was a very secure one, both materially and emotionally. Materially means the things which were provided by his father. Emotionally, here would mean feelings of love and affection he used to get in the family. Third paragraph. The Second World War broke in 1939 when I was 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. My brother in law, Jalaluddin, would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came in form of all the suspension of train halt at Rameswaram station. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameswaram road between Rameswaram and Dhanuskodi. That forced my cousin Samsudin, who distributed newspapers in Rameswaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally, I filled the slot. Samsudin helped me earn my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. Explanation. Students, we here get a glimpse of the Second World War and its effects in some parts of India. During those days, Kalam says that a sudden demand for tamarind rose in the market. Students, tamarind is a fruit, you can say, which has a sour taste. In Assamese, we call it teteli. And Abdul Kalam did not miss the chance. He used to collect the seeds of tamarind and sell them to a provision shop on the Mosque Street. So, Mosque Street is that street where his house was built. And selling those seeds, he would sometimes get a sum of 1 anna. Now, here, students, anna is equal to 1 paise. Kalam was a young boy of 8 years, and so he would listen to the stories of World War, which he later would try to find in the newspaper called Dinamani. Dinamani here, students, is a popular newspaper of Chennai. Kalam says until India joined the elite forces, you can say allied forces, whatever, it seemed as if an emergency was declared, and the first sign of that emergency could be seen as the suspension of trains, that is, stopping the trains from running. But in the area of Abdul Kalam, the trains only did not stop at their stations. Suspension was not completely done. As a result, the paper bundles had to be thrown from the train onto the road or onto the platform. Here, paper means newspapers. Kalam's cousin was working as a paper collector, that is, a newspaper collector. Now he needed help to collect the bundles thrown from the trains. And here, Abdul Kalam helped him a lot. He went with him to collect the thrown away bundles of newspapers. And for that, he got his money. Kalam considers this as the first earning of his life. Still, after 50 years, when he grew up and became a scientist, he remembered the first earning he had done when he was around 8 years old. Next paragraph. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my three brothers and sister. I had three close friends in my childhood: Ramanatha Sastri, Aravindan, and Shiva Prakashan. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. In fact, Ramananda Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of Ramaneshwar temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of the Ramaneshwaram temple from his father. Aravinda went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims, and Siva Prakasan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. Explanation. Students, this is a very important paragraph because here we find Kalam telling about his parents and his friends. Kalam says that, like every child, he was also brought up in a particular socio-economic and emotional environment and was trained in certain ways. His parents played an important role in his upbringing. Later, he realized that he inherited some great qualities like honesty, self discipline from his father, and from his mother, he inherited other great qualities like faith in goodness and deep kindness. His brothers and sisters also inherited these qualities from their parents. Then Kalam talks about his friends. Kalam had three great friends in his childhood. Those were Ramananda Sastri, Aravindan, and Shiva Prakashan. All these friends were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. Students, Orthodox means with high principles generating down through the ages. So these boys were Brahmin by caste, but Kalam was a Muslim by caste. But Kalam says that there was nothing among them which could create a difference based on religion. As they grew up, they took to different professions. Ramananda Sastri became a high priest in Rameshwaram temple. Aravinda went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. Now, students, do you know the meaning of pilgrim? Pilgrims are worshippers who make journeys to different temples, mosques, or churches, or any other religious destinations from different places. And lastly, Siva Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. Catering contractor means one who supplies food material or other stuff. Next paragraph. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. Students, this is a very small paragraph where Kalam says that his family used to arrange boats for a great Hindu festival to carry the idols of the Lord to the middle of a pond called Rama Tirtha. Here, students, Abdul Kalam provides us a beautiful picture of brotherhood. Being a Muslim family, they never kept themselves away from the Hindu society. In fact, they involved themselves in religious activities of the Hindus and helped them in the way they could. In the following lines, Kalam says that he used to listen to the stories of Ramayana and Prophet Muhammad from his mother during bedtime. This shows that the family of Abdul Kalam never ever confined themselves within the boundaries of religion. So, students, we have completed almost 5 paragraphs today. For today, let us wind up here. Be ready for the next class. Thank you so much for being with me in this class. Thank you.